My name is Hans-Peter-Meyer. I'm going to start over again. Sorry.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Hans-Peter-Meyer, and today I'm talking to Jim Palmer and Courtney here. This is part of a series of conversations about conservation, and Jim is been active for a long time with the Morrison Stream Keepers. Is that right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And you came here to the Comox Valley about in the early 90s, you said.
Right.
So you were part of, in the early 90s, was a period of big change here, and you said before that you'd been on Cortez for a while in a really remote place, then you moved to Vancouver, and like so many people, Comox Valley was this kind of perfect blend of a little town.
Natural happy medium.
Right. So you move here. Did you actually move here to this house?
That's right, yeah.
And you found Morrison Creek in your backyard, basically.
Right.
So, what got you involved in the Morrison Stream Keepers?
Well, the very first thing I noticed was the local Puntledge Elementary was doing salmon in the classroom, which got me, perked my interest anyway. And then after living next to the ocean for so many years, I needed some kind of a water fix, and having a great little salmon stream practically in the backyard, it was natural for me to gravitate towards that. And
now you've said that actually in a larger context, maybe with the Comox Valley, that Morrison Creek is actually in pretty good shape.
It's in excellent shape, yeah.
So
mostly because it's been left alone over the years.
Right, and that's slowly changing?
There's starting to be development uncomfortably close to the creek. Mostly it's fairly small scale at this point, but there are some larger scale developments that are they're under consideration.
So what impact might that have on the creek? Like why is that bad for the creek? Or why are you guys worried about it?
Well, it's important to have tree cover all along the stream, and also all the small wetlands that feed into the creek are important for providing habitat, nutrients, and also moderating the stream flow, and having a place for floodwaters to expand into is very important as well. It's the first thing people want to do when they're doing development is maximize the square footage being developed. So there's a tendency to put in a whole lot of fill really close to the stream, and then it becomes channelized, and then when a big flood event comes along, the stream doesn't have a chance to spread out, so the velocity stays high, and it moves the velocity downstream and causes damage to both fish habitat and people habitat.
So, earlier you were talking about how basically Morrison Creek, the headwaters of it between what'd you say, both?
Between Marsden Road and
Lake Trail.
Between Marsden Road and Bevan Road up by the
okay.
dump, and between Maple Lake in the south and Lake Trail Road in the north. There's one big low area
It's kind of like a big sponge.
Big sponge, big wetlands, big beaver ponds in there.
So we have this huge, like a couple nights ago, we had this huge downpour.
Fills up the headwaters first.
And then it slowly comes down Morrison Creek, and it's not wiping out, it's not washing the salmon out, it's also not washing away our precious front yards and backyards.
Right.
So when you've talked a bit about the impact in other creeks, what happens when we wipe out that big sponge? Like what happens to our properties?
Well, then when rainfall events happen, the high stream flows happen with a vengeance and immediately, and then when it quits raining, the water level drops, and like at this time of year, the gravel bars with salmon eggs in them would tend to dry up, and also in the summertime they'd go very, very dry as well, and it just makes for lousy fish habitat.
But it also has an impact on our taxes, right?
Right.
Because
mostly the high velocity stream flows are they cause damage to property and flooding as well. And then there's a lot of engineering work has to be done to take care of what the watershed is taking care of on its own right now in a better way than we could ever do it with a lot of expenditure of funds.
Right, so right now the creek is doing its job, absorbing heavy rain flows. We're not seeing our backyards washed away. The salmon are actually doing okay in this creek.
They're doing great. Yeah.
Great. And it's not costing us a penny.
Right.
We start seeing large-scale development, and we run the risk of spending a lot of money trying to engineer a solution to the kind of flushes that happen.
Right. And which only deals with the problem and on a very small part of the creek, and generally just moves the problem either over to the other side of the creek or further downstream.
Right. And ends up costing us a bunch of money.
Right.
So you're involved, or your group is involved with the Comox Valley Conservation Strategy. How does being involved in that group help you guys on Morrison Creek?
It gives us a larger voice on the political front, and because a lot of the problems that Morrison Creek is dealing with are they have to be addressed at the level of planners, bureaucrats, and the elected politicians as well.
Are they paying attention to you more now than they might have before?
Yes, they're starting to.
Yeah, and the strategy is part of that?
It's helping, yeah. And we'll continue to do so. So,
for those of us who aren't actively involved in stewardship activities, but, well, like me, I mean, I go for walks up Morrison Creek. I didn't know it was called Morrison Creek. And I just found out from you that, in fact, Morrison Creek is doing a great job being a habitat corridor, because there are actually elk show up
in the lower Lake Trail field. Yeah.
Right, which is just a few blocks from me. So I'm benefiting from this watershed here, but I'm not actively involved in it. Well, what can I do? What can people like me do to support the work that you're doing and also the larger conservation strategy?
Well, people that care about the natural environment could just spend a little bit more time talking to their friends and neighbors, and expressing their love for and their interest in the preservation of the natural environment. It will just help raise the awareness of it, and also when elections happen, it's important to elect representatives who give more consideration to those values. As the whole valley gets developed, it's going to be quite a struggle to preserve the natural environment.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
And I appreciate, I didn't know that you were working with Morrison Creek, but as I find out now, I'm actually benefiting from that, and I love walking up that watershed. So thanks for doing what you do.
Yeah, it's a great little watershed, and I'd really like to see it stay that way.
Okay. And thank you for watching.
Thank you.